This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Indiana, suicide is the top cause of death for first responders. How one Indiana teen is making it her mission to stop this disturbing trend.
And Hurricane Dorian is now a Category 2 as it nears the coast of Florida. We have the latest on the growing storm.
Plus, students are learning more about the jobs in their favorite crime shows, how one program is giving them hands-on experience in forensics. It's 5 o'clock here. We finally made it all the way to Friday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Casey.
And it's a holiday weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Meredith Barrick. Thanks so much for joining us. We are here with meteorologist Todd Clausen on this Friday morning. We've had 2 great days of weather. Everyone is looking at you now to make sure it continues through the holiday weekend.
You know, it's decent weather through the holiday weekend. There will be some small rain chances, especially today and tomorrow. A little better rain chance, I think, as we get into the day on Sunday, but nothing that you need to cancel or your plans over at this point. We'll kind of dive into that holiday forecast for you, Maine weather, in just a few minutes. But once again, today, you need the sunglasses. Maybe a couple of you need the light jacket this morning, but we are running a lot warmer this morning than we have the past 2. And as far as the umbrella, again, there could be a spot shower or 2, but I'm not expecting any widespread or heavy rainfall across the area. 64 is a cool spot in Crawfordsville, 69 in Bloomington right now, as well as Indy. 66 is the current temperature over in Richmond. And you notice the clouds that are in place. We'll miss out on this big complex of storms that dives to our south, but as a front goes through, it's probably just enough to wring out a few isolated showers here across the area. They would be mainly throughout the afternoon hours, but lots and lots of dry hours today with a high temperature of 83 degrees. The time now is 5:01. Let's get a first look at the roadways.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. If you're heading out maybe to catch a flight early this morning, maybe for your Labor Day weekend, the good news is you shouldn't have any problems on I-70. This is near the airport ramps here, and you can see traffic is pretty quiet still this morning. This is a spot we'll continue to monitor throughout your morning and keep you updated since it is a holiday weekend. Well, only here on RTV6, an Indianapolis teenager opens up about trying to stop this disturbing trend, the growing number of first responders who are taking their own lives.
Elijah Clegg is 16 years old and unfortunately familiar with the aftermath of suicide after losing his own brother. Now he's on a mission to save the lives of first responders who are often scarred by on-the-job trauma. Clegg is hosting a cookout downtown which will raise awareness and funds for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and the Peer Support Fund for the local firefighter union 416.
Just talk to him like, isn't this hard? How do you keep going? How do you, like, you probably have patients dying in your ambulance and you just keep going. And I'm like, and they tell me, like, we have people that talk to us. We take medicines. We treat ourselves and we also treat others. Before we treat others, we have to treat ourselves. That's the #1 thing they tell me.
Elijah's cookout will be held Sunday afternoon from 1 to 5 at the Indianapolis Firefighters Local 416 Union Hall on Mass Ave.
Well, police have made an arrest in connection to a deadly hit and run on the west side of Indianapolis. A driver hit a motorcycle on Washington and Denison streets on Tuesday last week, severely injuring Elijah Johnson, killing Bobby Joe Caldwell. Family members told RTV6 the driver left the scene while that couple begged for help. The person arrested has not been identified.
The 2 Indianapolis mayoral candidates from the major parties went head-to-head for the first time last night before the November election. The hour-long debate remained civil as Democratic Mayor Joe Hogsett and Republican State Senator Jim Merritt discussed a variety of issues. Merritt and Hogsett went back and forth on roads, poverty, economic development, and the city's crime rate.
The point is, progress is being made, and it's because of the investments that we have made over the last 4 years that I think change is coming.
It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. You've had 3.5 years. What you're doing is not working.
The next mayoral debate will be on October 28th. Their Libertarian candidate, Douglas McNaughton, will join Hogsett and Merritt on stage. Election Day is November 5th.
It is 5:04. The state is doing more to educate people about the dangers of electronic cigarettes and prevent addiction. Yesterday at Fishers High School, the Department of Health announced a new strategy to reduce vaping, specifically among young people here in Indiana. The initiative also includes a website and social media campaign. Vaping among high school students has increased by nearly 400% since 2012. That's according to a new study.
Sherlock Holmes, step aside because students are coming in to solve the crime. At Central 9 in Greenwood, kids are studying biomedical science, and that involves studying forensic. Our Aaron Lish is live in Greenwood this morning. And Aaron, these students are becoming full-blown investigators.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, they love true crime right now, and students, they will walk into this classroom and see this. This is an actual crime scene from an older case that they have. They've recreated it where they have to figure out what happened as they learn more about forensic science. And by the end of the semester, they have to determine how the victim died. Was it a murder or was it an accident? The instructor tells us they really look at the details, including blood spatter, looking at it under a microscope, the angles of that blood, how it fell, hair analysis, why there were pills, why were there drugs at the scene, and were there any motives for a murder? And in this class, they also look at the human body systems, autopsies, EKGs, and prosthetic designs. And with a lot of problem solving involved, students say instructors that it's a challenge, but it's a fun way to learn.
I think it's wonderful. I think of myself more as a facilitator, so I give them the problem and they try to solve it in the end.
I think it's really cool. I mean, I really enjoy it.
It's pretty crazy, but it's really exciting.
So lab techs, forensic scientists, surgeon, nurses, all these careers can be supported by this program since this is the study of science related to the medical field. And students will get credits for this class as well as multiple certifications in first aid and CPR. And in the next half hour, we talked with a couple of those students about what fields they want to go into, and they're totally different. But how this all relates to this program, we'll have that coming up. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Aaron, pretty cool. Thank you so much. It is 5:06. Superheroes, Star Wars characters, and more will take over the convention center this weekend for the Indiana Comic-Con. The event features celebrity guests like Guardians of the Galaxy actor Michael Rooker, as well as Walter Koenig from Star Trek. Artists from the show King of the Hill, and various comic book series will also make appearances. You can also buy t-shirts, art, and of course comic books from various vendors. Indiana Comic-Con begins today at noon and it runs through Sunday. The tickets are available online and at the door. Kids 12 and under are free.
Also this weekend, prepare to see cloaks, magic wands, and maybe lightning bolts in downtown Indianapolis. Thousands of Harry Potter fans from around the world are expected to crowd White River State Park for the first ever Wizards Unite Fan Festival. The event is all about the new Wizards Unite augmented reality game. It's similar to Pokemon Go. It features a real-world map with items to collect for battle. The festival starts Saturday. You can find ticket information by going to the RTV6 app and clicking on this story. Well, thankfully, Todd, the only lightning bolts that we'll be seeing will be on the people dressed as Harry Potter and not coming from the sky.
Yeah, right. Hopefully, on Sunday we have a little better chance of a few thunderstorms in the forecast. But today, just have a few showers in the forecast, and none of those are this morning. So as you get going here and start off your final work day before the long weekend, skies are mostly cloudy. Temperatures are currently in the upper 60s across the area, and that's where they stay with the clouds in place. We're not expecting the temperatures to continue to fall here this morning. They'll hold pretty steady and then start to climb this afternoon. And you notice the clouds increasing. They're out ahead of this complex of storms. That is going to dive down to our south. That is the good news. But it's spreading some clouds, and there is a weak front across the area. So throughout the day today, especially this afternoon hours, don't be surprised if you see an isolated shower or two. But it's nothing really to write home about. Shouldn't be all that heavy, and they're very, very spotty. You go throughout the whole day very easily here without a drop of rain. I think the best chance of those showers will be down across the south with high temperatures today in the upper 70s to low 80s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. A video doorbell company is giving police the okay to use video recorded from your home. Coming up, the partnership that's raising questions about privacy.
And Hurricane Dorian is gaining strength, on track to become a Category 4. The latest on the potentially dangerous storm as it inches closer and closer to Florida when we come back.
And here's a live look right now at your drive on this Friday morning. I-70 and Sherman Drive on the east side. Everything here is moving along smoothly. We'll be right back after the break.
Hiring Hoosiers only on RTV6.
It is 5:12 on your Friday. Here's a live look right now at your drive in the downtown area. I-65 and I-70 at the south split. Traffic here is moving along just fine this morning. No crashes to report around the metro area to slow you down. Okay, so all eyes are on Hurricane Dorian strengthening as it turns over the Atlantic and tracks back to Florida.
Millions there are bracing for a possible Category 4 landfall on Monday afternoon. ABC's Inez de la Catera has the latest from New York.
Forecasters taking no chances when it comes to Dorian. Hurricane hunters from NOAA flying right into the storm to try and figure out just where it will make landfall.
All the data that comes from our aircraft is sent real time to the National Hurricane Center.
The Category 2 storm is growing stronger and could become a Cat 4 by the time it hits the mainland, somewhere between Melbourne and Miami. Close to 17 million people along Florida's east coast now bracing for a strong storm surge, winds of over 130 miles per hour and over a foot of rain. Boarding up windows and scrambling for supplies, gas stations running out of fuel.
Just getting prepared before the storm comes. Just want to protect against what's coming.
President Trump watching closely, canceling an upcoming trip to Poland to monitor the situation.
It's something very important for me to be here. The storm looks like it could be a very, very big one indeed.
In addition to declaring a state of emergency, Florida's governor is also asking President Trump to declare a pre-landfall disaster for all of Florida's 67 counties. That'll essentially free up federal aid to help Florida deal with any of Dorian's possible effects. Inez de la Catera, ABC News, New York.
All right, and here is the current location of Dorian as it continues to make its way now through the Atlantic, become a little better organized here today than 24 hours ago. That shows signs of strengthening. The one thing with this system, it's a very compact system. It's pretty small storm, relatively speaking. The hurricane force winds only go out about 25 miles from the center, so that's at least some good news, if you can kind of call it that, with this storm system. But its current location is out in the Atlantic, a Category 2 storm with sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. It's moving to the northwest at about 12 miles per hour, so that's pretty slow. It stays out over the open ocean. No threat to any landfall, at least through about this time tomorrow. Then it's going to start to move towards the northern Bahamas here as a Category 3 storm, expected to strengthen and eventually make landfall north of Miami at this point as you get a little closer to West Palm Beach, maybe a little bit north of there as a Category 4 storm, and then it's going to start its northward turn up through Florida, weakening as a Category 1. So once it makes landfall, it weakens pretty quickly. But a lot of flooding could be possible here across parts of Florida. And obviously, where it makes landfall, you have the storm surge and those winds. The tropical storm force winds, by the way, go out 105 miles from the center of the storm. So that is a pretty good distance, and we'll continue to monitor it. And somebody texted me yesterday, I'm supposed to go to the Bahamas on Friday. Am I going to make it? And I said, well, you'll get there. The planes go. But Saturday's the day for the Bahamas, and then Sunday into Monday for Florida. 69 degrees right now. That is the current temperature. The winds are out of the southwest. You'll notice the humidity. That's up a little bit today compared to where it's been the past few days across the area. And as a result, temperatures haven't cooled off as much throughout the overnight hours. 64 right now in Crawfordsville. Richmond, you're at 66, 66 as well, working your way down into the Greensburg area. So the clouds are in place this morning. They're kind of just the high, thin clouds right now. But as we go throughout the day, they'll thicken, and we kind of toggle ourselves today between partly to mostly cloudy skies. It won't be that bright blue sky like we had the past few days. And the storm system complex will dive down to the south. You don't have to worry about that, but a weak little front slides through, and a few spotty showers will be possible here throughout the day today. And spotty's the key word here. You notice across the area, there's a lot of dry hours that'll be present throughout the day. And I think especially in the afternoon, the threat will shift down south of I-70 for the best shower chances. So definitely do not cancel your plans. This evening should be just fine. The Indians are in town, but in those southern locations, there will be the chance of those spotty storms. And the storm prediction does have the slight marginal risk, out for southern portions of the state. So here's how your day breaks down temperature-wise, hour by hour. 70 at 9 a.m., 77 by the noon hour. Your high temperature today, right around 81, 82 degrees. And then as we go forward into this forecast this evening, mostly cloudy, a little on the warm side, a little on the muggy muggy side. And looking ahead at your 7-day to the Labor Day holiday weekend, tomorrow it's just a real spotty storm chance, 81 degrees. A little better chance for scattered storms throughout the day on Sunday. So that potentially could turn into a pretty active afternoon. And then as we get into Labor Day itself, 85 degrees with a mixture of sun and clouds. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We're keeping a close eye on your Friday morning commute. Here's a live look at I-69 and 82nd Street. Traffic in Castleton is moving along just fine this morning. No major issues to slow you down. Take a look here at our traffic now map. We are registering just a few slowdowns here as you're traveling northbound on I-65 in the Dog Leg. I don't think it's causing too many issues, though, for your morning commute. You should be okay heading through that area. Over here on the east side, your drive time from Post Road, traveling westbound on I-70 all the way into the north split at I-65. It's just a 10-minute drive, so no problems heading in from the east side. And let's take a live look out that area right now. I-70 here in Sherman Drive. You can see just a few headlights moving across your screen. No crashes right now to slow you down.
Video doorbell company Ring is now partnering with police departments to give them easier access to user videos. Ring is a smart doorbell with a camera that points outside your front door. It can send a push alert and video to the user's cell phone when there's movement in the camera. Ring says with the partnership, police can request the video recordings to help with active investigations. Users can still choose whether or not to share the video. The company owned by Amazon says it will help provide and improve neighborhood safety. Privacy advocates say it threatens to create a 24/7 surveillance program. Best Buy says the U.S. trade war with China will mean lower sales for them this year. Tariffs on Chinese products like TVs, headphones, and computers are Best Buy's main concern. The electronic retailer expects lower profits, though they exceeded projections last quarter. They attribute that, though, to their additional services like Geek Squad. President Trump did delay some tariffs on items like phones and gaming consoles until mid-December to lessen the effect on the holiday season.
It is 5:19. President Trump has authorized the creation of the U.S.'s Military Space Command, a precursor to a potential 6th military branch. The president made this announcement yesterday. It comes as the U.S. has grown increasingly concerned about threats to its satellites. The new command will consist of more than 280 personnel and operate under U.S. Central Command.
SpaceCom will defend America's vital interests in space, the next warfighting domain. And I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. It's all about space. Looks like it could be a
the president also said he wants to create a U.S. Space Force as another branch of the military. He says it would, quote, organize, train, and equip warriors to support Space Command's mission.
If you're hitting the road this holiday weekend, here is some good news for your wallet. According to AAA, national gas prices are on track to be the lowest Labor Day prices in the past 3 years. Yesterday's average of $2.59 was nearly a quarter cheaper than last year. That is also less money that drivers paid for gas during Memorial Day travel earlier this summer.
At 5:20, the number of people killed by drivers running red lights is at a 10-year high. New data says that almost 1,000 people were killed in 2017. AAA says the reason for the increase could have something to do with the economy.
We see the economy doing well. We see more people on the roads. We see people generally playing a little bit more fast and loose with their driving behavior. So this year-over-year increase in large part is because more people are driving more miles.
However, AAA found that drivers were more likely to be careful if there are red light cameras around. They also are less likely to run through stoplights if they were caught and ticketed. Well, Alex Trebek is back at work taping the next season of Jeopardy! Next, we'll have an update on the host's battle with cancer.
And a rare sight in the Indiana skies could be visible this weekend. Coming up, how you can get a glimpse of the northern lights.
Ooh. Well, we do want to take a live look right now from our INDOT traffic camera near the downtown area, I-65 here at West Street and MLK. Traffic is pretty quiet at this early hour. We'll continue to keep you updated as we head into your holiday weekend. It's 5:21. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Good news for Jeopardy host Alex Trebek in his battle with cancer.
Yeah, the quiz show host announced on social media that he is done with his chemotherapy treatments. 5 months ago, Trebek was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. In the video, he said the treatments are over and he is on the mend. He's also already back at work taping Jeopardy's new season. The new episodes are expected to begin airing on September 9th.
You could catch a glimpse of the northern lights right here in Indiana this weekend. The aurora borealis is expected to be in view Saturday and Sunday evening. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says northern states like Michigan and Minnesota will get the best view, but areas as far south as Cincinnati can catch a glimpse. The northern lights are a common sight in Alaska, but are not usually visible in the rest of the states. And Todd, I'm guessing that visibility will depend a lot on how much cloud cover we have those 2 nights.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the best viewing. You know, had it been the past 2 nights with those clear skies, we would have a better shot at seeing it. But yeah, this weekend, it's going to be tough with, you know, kind of be in and out of the clouds. So maybe if you time it perfect, but obviously not the best situation.
So probably don't stay up all night trying to watch for them.
I would not bet your pennies on it, put it that way. All right, outside right now, we are dealing with mostly cloudy skies, temperatures that are currently in the 60s and one lone 70 there up in Muncie. So a little bit of a warmer morning for us. And as a result, it's going to be a warmer finish later on this afternoon. However, today we do have to throw a few spotty showers into the forecast this afternoon with highs in the low 80s.
Todd, thanks. A break-in at a West Side business left the owner with nearly $1,000 in damages. Now police are asking for your help to find that suspect.
And after years of waiting, a newly constructed bridge will finally open this morning. When we come back, a look at the complete Central Avenue Bridge project.
Now let's take a live look outside right now. We're keeping a close eye on your commute on this Friday. It's also our Friday before the Labor Day holiday weekend, so we may have more travelers out there. This is over on the east side on I-70. Traffic is moving along up to speed. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break when Good Morning Indiana continues.
RTV6 is working for you.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
The Red Line starts picking up passengers on Sunday.
This morning, we're breaking down the new rules of the road before the buses leave the station. Plus, Hurricane Dorian continues to strengthen in the Atlantic.
Now at 5:30, we'll find out how Hoosier Help is already preparing to head there in the storm's path. But first, here on our Friday, we do want to talk about our forecast ahead of that holiday weekend.
Yeah, Todd, people are looking at you today to see whether or not they can have those cookouts and maybe have one final weekend in the pool.
Yeah, you know, definitely you can get in the pool. Temperatures are going to be warm enough all weekend long with temperatures that'll be in the 80s. There will be some rain chances each day with the exception of Labor Day. Now, today your rain chances aren't all that great. It's only about a 10% chance of a stray sprinkle here this morning. And then even throughout the afternoon and evening hours, the coverage of these would be about 20%. So it's just an isolated storm chance here throughout the afternoon hours. That's why I encourage you or tell you not to cancel any outdoor plans. Mostly cloudy skies here this morning across the area. This complex of storms will dive down to the south, so we will not see that. But as a front works through, I am expecting a few spotty showers to develop, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. The best chance of that would be in southern locations. Otherwise, we're just looking at mostly cloudy skies throughout the day today, and temperatures that'll climb through the 70s this morning and then eventually level off as we head into the afternoon hours in the low 80s. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look right now at your commute here on the northwest side, I-65 and I-865. You can see traffic in this area is moving along smoothly. No problems on I-65 there on the northwest side right now. Let's take a look at our map. Let's head down here to the southeast side and get a look at your drive time on I-74. From Acton Road to the I-465 ramps, it's a 5-minute drive, so no issues there to slow you down. And let's take a live look out there right now, I-74 and Acton Road. We'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads throughout the morning. We know traffic may be busier as we have more people heading out for their holiday weekend.
Public transportation in Indianapolis will look a lot different starting in just a couple of days. The Indigo Red Line Rapid Transit route starts on Sunday. RTV6 is working for you, helping you prepare for traffic changes coming with the new system. One big change for drivers, a median on a stretch of Meridian Street and designated intersections where you can turn left or make a U-turn. This makes it more difficult to get to some businesses and apartments like the Marat where Sarah Gherkin lives.
Today the buses were practicing, and as I was trying to get into the apartment, over the tracks, of course, a bus was coming by, practicing, being in the route, whatever, but luckily I looked and saw them. They weren't slowing down, so I would have been hit.
It really does come down to safety, both being able to keep the buses moving frequently and reliably, but also, you know, kind of reducing some of those potential interactions with a vehicle and a bus.
Right now, Indigo does not plan to add signs telling drivers not to drive over the medians. For more guidance on how to navigate the red line, head over to the RTV6 app and click on this story.
At 5:32, West Side business owners want to know if you recognize the person in this surveillance video. They believe he's behind a break-in Sunday morning at the Midwest Motors on West 10th Street near Girls School Road. The owner says the break-in caused about $1,000 worth of damage to that business. If you have any information, you need to call Crime Stoppers. You can do that anonymously at 317-262-TIPS.
A Greenfield man arrested Wednesday after his vehicle hit and killed a bicyclist has tested positive for illegal drugs. The Hancock County Sheriff's Department says 40-year-old Robert Terry was driving a minivan that hit and killed a 76-year-old Roger Wellenrider of Greenfield. The crash happened on County Road 300 North. Police say Terry tested positive for THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, and methamphetamine. He was also driving on a suspended license.
Well, starting this afternoon, drivers on the near north side will see something that they haven't seen in more than 2.5 years. The Central Avenue Bridge over Fall Creek will open by this afternoon rush hour. That's according to a tweet from the Department of Public Works. The bridge closed January of 2017 after it started to fall apart. DPW hoped to have it open by July, but that work was just not done yet.
Regulators have approved allowing the move of a casino from along Lake Michigan to an on-land location in Gary. The Gaming Commission's vote allows Spectacle Entertainment to proceed with plans for building the new Hard Rock Casino along Interstate 8094. The group aims to open the new facility in December of next year. The vote also allows provisions for a new casino in Terre Haute. Vigo County voters will decide in a November referendum whether to let that plan go forward. Bidding for that location closes on December 1st.
It is 5:34. Students are getting ready to learn the CSI style as they try to solve crimes in their biomedical science program. As they get classroom to career ready, our own Aaron Lish is joining us live this morning from Central 9 down in Greenwood with what this course is all about. Hey, Aaron.
Good morning. So they are taking applications of science and putting it in the medical field. And first up is forensics. And as you can see, they have a crime scene here where students are coming to do a bit of critical thinking and problem solving.
If there were people involved, then, you know, they could have pushed her.
Walking around the crime scene, students are figuring out how this woman died.
Why would they kill the ex-wife if they're doing fine on their own?
Instructors say the mock investigation is part of the biomedical science program.
I think it's wonderful. I think of myself more as a facilitator, so I give them the problem and they try to solve it in the end. So.
Jasmine Bickle wants to be a first responder, and as they learn about forensics, autopsies, drug analysis, and the human body's system, Bickle says she will benefit from this program in the future.
So it's kind of like stuff that you'll see on the scene that you need to know when you get to the scene for an EMT.
Students study blood spatter and get a closer look under the microscope, which Devin Cooper believes will help him pursue a career in microbiology.
Just getting experience with the lab, the equipment, and learning safety procedures and stuff like that.
Through this program, they get college credit and certifications in CPR and first aid. And as students get better understanding about biomedical science, they are having fun solving the case along the way.
I think it's really cool. I mean, I really enjoy it.
It's pretty crazy, but it's really exciting.
And, you know, as you can see, those two students are going completely different paths, but they are using this exact same class to further their careers. And we're going to have a little bit more on what they do other than these forensic science, projects. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Very cool, Aaron. Thank you so much. The Colts wrapping up the preseason last night over in Cincinnati. Not a ton to take away from the game. QB Chad Kelly did run for a first quarter touchdown. That was the only Colts entry into the end zone. A 13-6 Indy win. The Colts held the Bengals to just 2 field goals on the night. And the next 10 days will be very important on many levels. The NFL mandated roster cut to 53 will happen tomorrow afternoon. The Colts will also select their practice squad players. Week 1 preparations begin on Monday out of the Colts complex, and then Sunday it is the regular season opener out in Los Angeles against the Chargers.
It is 5:37, and right now folks up and down Florida's East Coast are preparing for Hurricane Dorian. This morning, all of the major airlines will begin issuing the travel waivers ahead ahead of the potentially Category 4 storm. Florida's governor already declaring a state of emergency, telling people the time to prepare is right now. People loading up on supplies, some gas stations even running out of gasoline. With more than 17 million people, nearly the entire state of Florida is in the cone of uncertainty. Mass evacuations are likely.
Just getting prepared before the storm comes. Just want to protect against what's coming.
It's mind-boggling because nobody knows exactly where this storm's going.
President Trump has canceled an upcoming trip to Poland, staying in Washington to monitor this storm. And the Rolling Stones moved a Saturday concert to tomorrow so that fans can attend before the storm hits. Well, those impacted by Hurricane Dorian will get help from the Hoosier State. Duke Energy plans on sending dozens of crews from Indiana to help. The crews will leave out from various locations all across our state at 7 o'clock this morning. We're told the line workers, vegetation workers, and supervisors will head to Macon, Georgia to wait for their next assignments. It's not clear how long the Indiana workers will be in the southeast.
Lauren, thank you. I'm here in the tracking center with meteorologist Todd Clausen right now. And Todd, we understand that a new advisory came down at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock. What does that look like right now?
It's still a Category 2 storm, winds 105 miles per hour, but it's getting into those warm, open waters of the Atlantic. You know, yesterday it crossed over the Virgin Islands, and when hurricanes cross land masses, even if it's just a fairly small island, it can kind of chop it up a little bit, and it weakened. So it weakened a little bit, but now it's in the process of re-strengthening. Here is Dorian as it makes its way through the Atlantic. Here is the east coastline of the United States. So here are their current stats: 105 mile per hour sustained winds. They go out about 25 miles per hour from the center. Tropical storm force winds go out over 100 miles. It's moving pretty slow out of the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. So the track takes it across open water for the next 24 hours. No land impact, and it's a Category 3 major hurricane. Cruises across the northern parts of the Bahamas, and then landfall is expected as a Category 4 storm along the east coast of Florida as we get into the late Sunday, Monday time frame, and then it makes its way up into central Florida as mainly a rainmaker at that point. So East Coast issues: storm surge, coastal flooding, the strongest winds from the hurricane, and flooding, heavy rainfall. The West Coast, I know a lot of people travel and have places to stay along the west coast of Florida. You'll still see some strong winds and heavy rainfall, but you don't bear the brunt of this system, and very minor coastal flooding. So the west coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast, is a little better off than the East Coast here where the landfall will be. We'll continue to monitor it. We'll talk more about your local forecast for the holiday weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Hurricane hunters are responsible for gathering important information from inside storms like Dorian. After the break, why a flight on Thursday was anything but routine for the team.
Plus, before you start making breakfast, we have an important recall alert to tell you about. Straight ahead, which cooktops officials say can turn themselves on. It's 5:40. We'll be right back.
FDA approved for over 17 years.
New this morning, President Trump says he is going to pull thousands of U.S. forces from Afghanistan. After the withdrawal, the president says 8,600 troops will remain in the country. The U.S. currently has about 14,000 service members in Afghanistan conducting counterterrorism operations, as well as training and advising Afghan troops. The withdrawal will be in conjunction with a U.S. Taliban peace plan President Trump is considering.
At 5:44, police in Westerfield, Ohio say that a student was found at a high school with a loaded gun after the boy's father reported him. The father called the school to express concerns about his 9th grade son, including that the boy might have a weapon. It turned out that the child did have a gun. Westerville's police chief says the father did the right thing.
The parent, knowing there would be consequences for the child, was willing to put the safety of the school and the safety of the student in front of that and realized that this could be a dangerous situation.
The police chief says there isn't any indication that the boy had plans to use the gun. It's also not clear where he got it. The 14-year-old is facing felony charges and expulsion from that school.
As Hurricane Dorian strengthens, there are scientists making routine flights to learn more about the storm. You may have heard of them. They're called hurricane hunters. A flight yesterday afternoon was pretty special, however. It was the first hurricane hunters flight piloted by an all-female flight crew. Emergency managers in Florida say the information captured by the hurricane hunter flights is crucial to make sure residents stay safe.
We can have
flex on the front end to have people in shelters and safe before they need to be. What we can't do is get behind the curve and wind up in a position where we're still taking action when the wind starts blowing.
The crew members aboard the Hurricane Hunters are part of the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squad. It is 5:45 here on our Friday morning, and we want to take a look at the weather here in central Indiana.
You know, Meredith, it's a decent forecast going forward, and a lot of people have plans as we go into the holiday weekend. And there are some small rain chances both today, tomorrow, and then it's probably Sunday that we have the best rain chances across the area. You'll notice it's warmer and more humid, and you'll notice that as soon as you walk out the door here this morning. Temperatures are running a lot warmer than they have been. And as far as the entire weekend goes, Labor Day is probably the best day, to be honest with you, because there's no rain chances. And at that point, temperatures will be up into the mid-80s. Here's the view from downtown to the north. And you notice it's a little more hazy. Those lights aren't quite sparkling like they have been the past 2 days. And that's because that haze you see is a little bit of moisture that has made its way into the area in the form of humidity. You see the clouds as well, 69 degrees. That's the current temperature. And those southwesterly winds are what's keeping the temperatures warmer in combination with the cloud cover that's in place. So everybody's within the 60 and 70 degree range here this morning. So that's not really an issue. You probably don't even need the light jacket here this morning. But here are the clouds. You don't see any precipitation this morning. So your morning commute is going to be just fine. There is a complex of storms, though, that is off to our west. That's going to dive down to the south. And we'll miss out on most of that. But as it goes to our south, a few isolated showers will be possible here throughout the day, with that storm system pushing to the south in combination with a front that's sliding through the area. So the rain chances aren't all that great here throughout the day today, and probably 98-99% of us go throughout the entire day today without a drop of rainfall. But there could be a few spotty storms sneaking in here around midday, but the best chance, honestly, is going to be for a few isolated showers and maybe a rumble of thunder in southern locations. But we're not expecting any widespread severe weather today. But I say south of Interstate 70 for high school football games this evening, you may run the risk of an isolated shower or two, and that's really just about it. To the north, you're probably just fine. Storm Protection Center does have the southern half of the state under the marginal risk for severe weather. It would be maybe for a weak thunderstorm with some gusty winds, and that would be just about it. So as you plan your day out today, partly to mostly cloudy skies. That spot shower chance enters the forecast this afternoon with temperatures in the 80s, and then as we work our way into the evening hours, you should be okay with just mostly cloudy skies and temperatures that will be in the 70s. Now, as we look ahead to the weekend, Saturday, it's about a 20% chance of storms. A little better on Sunday. Both days are going to be up into the low to mid 80s. Here's the Saturday storm chance that'll be around. Again, very, very spotty. Carry on with any of your plans. As we get into Sunday, though, the storms start to become a little more numerous across the area and flaring up throughout the afternoon hours. So Sunday plans, you may have to alter just a little bit as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Labor Day itself, though, Monday, partly cloudy skies, Lauren, and a high temperature of 85 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look at traffic right now. And I want to pay attention, especially in the area near the airport, since we're heading into that holiday weekend. As you're leaving the airport heading towards downtown on I-70, no delays. It's a 12-minute drive from Ronald Reagan Parkway to I-65 at the south split. In the opposite direction, if you're heading towards the airport in the westbound direction, it's just an 11-minute commute from downtown, so everything there is moving along up to speed. Let's take a turn right now. Go to the north side, I-465 in Michigan Road. You can see traffic there moving along just fine, both eastbound and westbound on the interstate. We'll keep a close eye out for any crashes and keep you updated.
We have an important recall alert to tell you before you start cooking breakfast. More than 26,000 glass cooktops are being recalled because they can turn themselves on. They were sold between March 2017 and August 2019 under the Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and JennAir brands. The cooktops pose a burn and fire hazard, but the recall notice doesn't explain how the cooktops turn themselves on. The glass cooktops were sold at Lowe's, Home Depot, Best Buy, and other stores from March 2017 through August 2019. You can head to the Consumer Product Safety Commission's website for the list of affected models.
Well, a new study suggests a possible link between unhealthy food and depression in teenagers. Researchers analyzed 84 middle school students from low-income communities in Birmingham. Tests found high levels levels of sodium and low levels of potassium in the group. They also saw symptoms of depression with children and their parents a year and a half later. Researchers tested the group again and noticed more signs of depression.
It's that time again. Apple just sent invitations for an event next month at which Apple is expected to unveil its latest models of the iPhone. It's set for September 10th at Apple's headquarters in Cupertino, California. Apple has hosted a press event in early September to announce new iPhones in each of the last 7 years. Among other announcements, Apple is reportedly planning to launch 3 new iPhones this time, including 2 Pro models. Apple may also give final details on pricing for its streaming TV service, Apple TV+.
A little boy with autism was having some issues on a flight to Houston. Just after the break, why the boy's mother says the flight crew helped to turn her son's day around. It's 5:51. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Lowest higher prices, only at Best One of Indy.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 5:54. And Good Morning Greenwood. This is a live look in your area. I-65 here near Main Street. You can see traffic is moving along just fine. No crashes on the south side of your morning commute.
The former Secret Service dog who took down an intruder in 2014 will be honored for his bravery. Hurricane, along with fellow Secret Service dog Jordan, was kicked and thrown around by a man who jumped a fence while President Obama was in the White House. The dogs were able to tackle the suspect to allow agents to arrest him. The injuries Hurricane sustained, however, from that attack contributed to his retirement in 2016. He has been awarded the Order of Merit by the British charity People's Dispensary for Sick Animals. Hurricane will receive the award in October at a ceremony in London.
Very cute. Well, crew members and passengers stepping in to help a boy with autism on a flight from San Diego to Houston. 4-year-old Brayson usually loves to fly, but he was having a lot of trouble on this particular flight. His mother says he took off his seatbelt before takeoff and he wanted to sit on the floor, but the plane couldn't take off until Brayson was in his seat. So during the takeoff, flight attendants let Brayson sit in his mom's lap with his dad holding him, and then they let Brayson sit on the floor during that flight. His mother says the passengers and crew members were very welcoming, tolerant, and helpful. So sweet there.
That is a great story.
All right, as people are probably traveling ahead of their Labor Day holiday weekend, they need to know what the weather's looking like, Todd.
Yeah, if you're traveling from central Indiana, you're just going to be just fine. If you're traveling to Florida, obviously you better check with your airline and make some preparations depending what part of Florida you're going, as we start to bring in Hurricane Dorian later in the week. So keep that in mind, or the weekend. 69 right now in the city, as well as Bloomington, 70 in Muncie. Radar is nice and quiet right now. That's the good news, but there will be the chance of maybe just a stray shower or two in this forecast as we get into the afternoon hours. It would be very light. It would be very quick. Don't cancel any plans. Otherwise, partly sunny skies today. A little more humid than it has been, with a high temperature of 83 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you. Election day is November 5th, and you'll be casting your ballot for Indianapolis mayor before you know it. Last night, the candidates appeared on stage for the first debate. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll take a look at the night's big talkers.
And it's week 2 of Friday Football Frenzy. We're live at Beech Grove as the Hornets prepare to host the Cascade Cadets.
And here is a live look across central Indiana as you prepare to start your work and school day before our Labor Day weekend. Stay with us. We have plenty more news, weather, and traffic here to kick off your Friday.